Artist research. How to develop a project. Number 3, artist research. Looking at the work of others is an integral part of being an artist yourself. By researching artists, you can gain a better understanding of concepts, use of materials, and it can give you plenty of inspiration to develop your own ideas. Research doesn't have to be limited to the internet. If you are able to, visiting an art gallery and seeing art in person is a powerful experience. To begin, you will of course need to select an artist to look at in more depth. If you haven't yet identified an artist to look at, I have some suggestions for each theme on the next slide. The following artists are suggestions only. It is important that you have a great admiration for the artists you choose to research, as they should fill your own mind with ideas. Browsing the internet in search of artists yourself is a valuable skill. Take a note of any names you like the work of. Remember that there is no limit to the number of artists you research. The more, the better. You can strengthen ideas by looking at several different artists. The Artist Research Guide I have created for you is a useful tool for making sure you include relevant information on your research pages. In the following slides, we will look at each section in more detail. Okay, let's look at artist research and what information you need to include. Start with a paragraph about the artist. So this just needs to be a very short amount of writing with a little bit of background about the artist. You could include their date of birth, when he or she died if they're no longer with us, their nationality, what art movement they were linked to perhaps, and where they studied art. Number 2, about the art, is slightly more important. In the next slide, I'm going to give you a little bit more idea on how to create a more in-depth analysis of the artist's work. So we'll come back to that. Number 3 is a personal written response. So for this, you're going to need to include your own opinion about what you think about the artist. So why have you chosen this artist? What you find interesting about the artist? How could you develop your ideas in response to the artist's work? What could you do next? And then lastly, you need to include imagery. So my suggestion is to include at least 3 photograph examples. You can include as many as you like, and the more the better, because it will give you more ideas. You also need to include a transcription of some sort. So this might be a direct copy of one of the artist's pieces of work. It could be a detail of the artist's work. Or it could simply be the way that you've presented the artwork in the same style as the artist. Remember, the next task is to develop your own piece of work in response to the artist's research. Number 2, about the art. So it's important to be able to create an in-depth analysis of the artwork that you've looked at. For this slide, I have created a series of questions which you can answer to help you with that. And I've also included some sentence starters if you struggle to get started. Questions you could answer: what has the artist created? So for example, has the artist created sculptures or paintings, perhaps reliefs or installations? How has the artwork been created? What materials have been used? What's the subject matter? So is the artwork based on portraiture or animals, for example? What is the work about? Is the artist expressing emotion? Is there a clear message in the art? What kind of message is the artist trying to convey? What do you think it's about? Remember, there's not always a right or wrong. It's more about your opinion and what you think it tells you. Which of the below formal elements have the artist considered? How has the artist used colour or scale, for example? Refer back to this slide to help you write about the formal elements and use key terms in your work. The sentence starters to the right will help you get started in writing about your work. It's entirely up to you whether you choose to handwrite your research or whether you type it on the computer. But once you have finished your writing, you need to present your research in a creative way. Make sure you include a bold, eye-catching title using font that is relevant to the artist's style. Include your notes about the artist. Include your notes about the art, your in-depth analysis. Include your opinion and ideas on how your research can inform your own work's development. Include images. And include your own mini piece in the style of the artist. Include an interesting background relevant to the artist's style. Feel free to refer back to this tutorial anytime to use the guide slides for support.